That's the fact. But problem is you already have one receiver who's well north of 30+ per year in CeeDee Lamb, and George is going to want that as well.
The team used the non-exclusive tag on Pickens, which allows him to talk to other teams when free agency begins on March 11th. Meanwhile, the Broncos are placing the second-round restricted tenure on Jaquan McMillan, worth $5.8 million, sources told ESPN. McMillan had 2 interceptions, 9 pass deflections, and led all defensive backs with 4 sacks this past season. And the NFL salary cap has topped over $300 million for the first time, for a $22 million increase over last year.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Monday from the NBA to the Combine. I'll react to it all in my Upon Further Review at 7 a.m. Eastern. It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Off and running, welcome in. After further review here on a Friday, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona. He'll be back on Monday. We got Taylor Sharp and Paul O'Neill along for the ride. We're glad to have you along for the ride here today as well. I mean, we got a jam-packed show to get through. A lot from the NFL Combine, some Saints news as well, dealing with the current roster. The NFL salary cap is now officially set. We know the number. Where does that leave the New Orleans Saints? And, of course, LSU baseball, they open up a 4-game weekend at the Box tonight, 6:30 first pitch, so about 3.5 hours away. They'll face Dartmouth at the Box tonight. They'll face Northeastern on Saturday, and then again on Monday with another game against Dartmouth in between. So we got plenty to talk about there as well. We'll go ahead and begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
And we'll start with LSU baseball out at the Box. Actually, we'll start with an update from the game that's going on currently, and that is Northeastern taking on Grambling. They are in the middle of the 6th inning. Northeastern holds a 2-1 lead. The Huskies are looking for their first win of the season. They scored 2 in the first, left the bases loaded in the second, and have not scored since. Grambling just added a run in the top half of the 6th, so I'll keep you updated just periodically, see if Northeastern can get their first win of the season before they face LSU on Saturday. When I look at this weekend as a whole, and I can give you some notes on each team, and there are some interesting things dealing with Dartmouth, dealing with Northeastern. But first and foremost, this is a weekend that is about LSU. You hear that all the time in every sport you've ever watched. This game's about us. This weekend is about LSU. You suffered your first loss on Tuesday night. We don't need to get into the grand scheme of things, what that means for this team going forward, because in reality, it doesn't really mean anything as long as you continue to take care of your business, like many feel this LSU team will. But it's an opportunity this weekend for LSU to carry over the response they had late in that game Tuesday night, where they climbed back into it and were a couple feet away from Seth Dartar walking it off for the 3-run homer. Carry that over into this weekend against two teams that are struggling. You know, Jay Johnson has been fond of telling this story ever since LSU, I guess really kind of midway through the season a year ago, and he's told it after they won the national championship. He's told it all throughout the offseason of Dylan Cruz being back at LSU and watching practice leading into the 2025 season, and him telling Jay, well, you'll know what type of team you have when you lose the first one. LSU would drop the game to Omaha as part of a doubleheader. They came back that night and run-ruled Omaha and ended up winning that weekend, and they didn't lose again until they went to Texas the second week of conference play. It's similar here. You've lost one. I think you liked the response in the immediacy in that game, but now you get a much bigger opportunity to go respond on your home field, have some bounce-back performances from some guys on the mound who pitched early in that game against McNeese that weren't very successful, You get another weekend for your starting rotation to build off of the success they did have a week ago in Jacksonville. And it comes at the expense of two teams that you are just flat out better than. I hate using the term get right in baseball because it's baseball and wacky, crazy, unpredictable things happen in this game on a nightly and daily basis. But if there ever was that opportunity, this seems like that weekend for LSU. When you look at Dartmouth, who LSU will face tonight, it's a veteran club who have played a lot of baseball and a lot of baseball together. That in and of itself makes them dangerous. You get experienced players out there, crazy things can happen. They're not going to fold, you wouldn't expect. But while they have all that experience back, they're back from a team a year ago that wasn't very good. They won 11 games a season ago and missed the Ivy League tournament altogether. They're projected near the bottom of that league again. Their whole deal is they have to improve on the performance from a year ago. And they've done that in certain areas. They're off to a better start at the plate. It's hard to get a feel on them. You might not know, but the Ivy League starts their season a week later. So last week was Dartmouth's first action. They went 1-2 and had a game canceled in there as well. So they didn't even get to play their full allotment of 4 games in their first week. They're still trying to figure some pieces out, but they showed some nice stuff on offense. They like to run the bases. They'll steal on you here and there. They banged out 7 doubles in those 3 games, so they have that going for them. But overall, it's a team in Dartmouth that comes in hitting .262. On the mound, they have an ERA over 6. So you'll go into it as a heavy favorite. And like I said, the thing for me with Case and Evans tonight, match what you did a week ago. Get me 5 innings. He's thrown 75, 80 some odd pitches over the course of his first 2 outings. See if we can get that to 90. And in that case, can you get me through 6? If you're looking at Case and Evans and just that progression for him moving into that weekend starter role. The other thing is we need to eliminate that big inning if you're Case and Evans. He's had him 1 in each of his first 2 outings. Now, the one against Milwaukee was a little bit more his doing. The one against Indiana was just wacky where one ball left the infield. In that inning, there was an error that cost you the lead in that inning. The response from him was much better coming out in the 4th and the 5th and getting back to what you saw from him the first 2 innings, which was just dominant, sit him down 1, 2, 3 in order. And he was able to extend at that point, and that was encouraging. Now, match the 5 innings, extend if you can, and let's limit that big inning and see if he can't turn in a dominant outing for LSU from start to finish. One thing I think that's going to help lead to that efficiency is better command of the secondary stuff throughout the outing. When he got into trouble in that 3rd inning against Indiana, that's what left him. He needs that changeup. That's his best secondary offering. And you even saw him land the slider and the curveball more consistently the last time out. Build off of that. When you look at Northeastern and what LSU is facing there, this is a team in the Huskies that is coming off the best season in their program's history. Okay, they won 49 games a year ago, carried a 27-game winning streak into the NCAA tournament, had a pitching staff that led the nation in ERA. They won their first ever NCAA tournament game. The bad news is for Northeastern, this is not that team. Of that pitching staff that led the nation in ERA a year ago, they lose 90% of their innings. 90% of their innings. Including all 3 weekend starters. They don't have a pitcher except for one. They have one pitcher that returns 10 or more innings from a season ago. And they have gone through major, major growing pains because of that. And that has really led them to this 0-5 start. Their offense has not been great either. But they do return an All-American in Harrison Feinberg, who had 18 homers a year ago, almost 70 RBIs, and hit like 355. So that's a guy you definitely have to keep an eye on in their lineup. And while they don't return a lot on the mound, and we'll get into starters and who LSU might see a little bit later on in the show, they do return a lot in their lineup, which is why it's surprising to see them off to such a slow start. I mean, talked about it right at the top of the show. They have 2 runs on the board in the 6th inning against Grambling. I will say Northeastern has really tested themselves. Of their 5 games that actually count, the game against the Boston Red Sox doesn't count. Of the 5 games that count, 4 of them have been against Power 4 competition. And they have not fared well in those. They're testing themselves again by facing LSU, another Power 4 team. So what I say is, with Northeastern, this is a team that they will come together throughout the season, and I could see them winning a lot of games in their conference and maybe having another chance to make it into the NCAA tournament. They were projected by Baseball America, by D1 Baseball, as a regional team preseason. So while it's not off to a great start from them, that could end up being a really solid, not a great, not an elite, not a resume-changing win for LSU, but it could end up being a solid win because this is a team with a lot of talent where you're going to see good stuff on the mound that they could turn in a nice performance in their league. But overall, this is a team who came in to this weekend with an ERA of 15. That's gone down a little bit because they've held Grambling to 1 run and a batting average of .215. They're going through it. Like I said, it's baseball, crazy, wacky, unpredictable things happen. I hate using the term get right weekend, but LSU should be able to overmatch both of these teams. We'll talk a little bit more about the series as we go throughout the show. Hopefully get you a look at the lineup if it's posted before we get out of here again for a 6:30 pitch. Should have that at the bottom of the third hour. But we'll obviously, circle back to baseball plenty throughout the show. Glad to have you along. It's After Further Review presented by Don Juan Cigar. We're here on a Friday. Musso in for Moscona. We'll grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. Go to the NFL Combine. Garrett Nussmeier with some pretty interesting comments regarding his injury and time at LSU. We'll let you hear what the former quarterback said next. Talk about his upcoming workout this weekend for NFL scouts up in Indy. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends over at Duplessis Builders because they're going to build you a beautiful pool, build you a beautiful outdoor kitchen. They'll give you a 10-year workmanship warranty on their pool builds when the industry standard is 1. Let me say that slowly so you understand. Most pool builders, when they build your pool, they give you a 1-year warranty on their work. 1 year. Duplessis gives you a 10-year workmanship warranty because Derek is an engineer by trade. They take the time to do it right as they go through the process of the pool build. So they're building you something that is going to last, something beautiful that's going to last. You want to know why Duplessis Builders was named a top 50 pool builder in America by Pool & Spa Magazine? Meet with them one time, you'll get it. DuplessisBuilders.net. That beautiful pool, that outdoor kitchen, they can do it all for you. DuplessisBuilders.net.
Trust isn't given, it's earned. Earned by showing up, putting in the work, the hours that nobody sees. I didn't get here on my own. I trust my coaches to lead, my teammates to step up, and when the game is on the line, Our Lady of the Lake to keep me healthy and on the court. Because it takes a champion to care for a champion. I trust the Lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore, EVAMOR, evermore.com, evermore.com. For elite athletes, for someone who just wants a healthier lifestyle. Maybe you're a parent, you want a healthier option for your children. Evermore is a great option. I would highly encourage you, bottom line, if you're drinking tap water, don't. Bare minimum, filter your tap water. But the best option is Evermore. This is natural artesian water. It's underground aquifers on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, right there in Covington. They dug a well into that aquifer, and I mean, it's literally thousands of years in the making. That's why they call it Mother Nature's masterpiece. That's what they're pulling out of the ground. The only filtration is take like the sediment from the ground out of the water, and it goes right into the bottle. So it never touches air until you uncap it, take that first delicious sip. Learn more where you can buy it, great retailers or online, EVAMOR, evermore.com.
NFL Combine in full swing up there in Indy. You're actually now into the workout and drills and testing portion of the Combine that everybody, actually can sit down and watch on TV, and people love to, get invested in. Cornerbacks, safeties, some tight ends going today. So you'll see Mansour Delane, although he's not running the 40, but he'll be out there today. AJ Halsey, Bauer Sharp for LSU, those type guys. Quarterbacks and wide receivers get their chance this weekend, and Garrett Nussmeier obviously will be in that number for LSU. He had a media availability at the NFL Combine here today on Friday, and as you might expect, talked about a lot. They asked him about Lane Kiffin, which was great. He gave a great answer there. Endorsed Lane, said he knew him a little bit. Asked him about his time at LSU, but again, as you might imagine, first and foremost is an update on the injury, and just, hey, can you give us a little bit more background on what it was and when it was?
Yeah, my injury occurred in fall camp, day 2, practice 2 of fall camp. How much did it affect me? It was, I think it was pretty evident. I really wasn't able to throw the football. I had a stabbing pain in my ab every time I went to go throw the ball, and we weren't able to figure out exactly what it was. It was a frustrating deal, and it wasn't LSU's fault. It wasn't the doctor's fault. They did a great job of taking care of me and the trainers there. It was just a rare deal. It was just a thing that, we really didn't figure out what it was until about 2 months ago. I had about 9 days to prepare for the Senior Bowl and try and get back right for that. And so made a lot of progress over the last month. And so feeling much more like myself, which has been exciting.
So we knew it was early in fall camp. He just tells you right there it was day 2. I mean, the second practice of fall camp, you have that injury, and they start going through the process of trying to figure it out, limiting him, all of those things. I mean, remember there were scrimmages on Saturday where he didn't even throw or or Friday wouldn't throw, go scrimmage on Saturday would. Just managing it all and trying to get it going. And, no one really made a huge deal about it leading up to that first game. And the first game of the season against Clemson was the best game that Garrett Nussmeier played all season for LSU. The ball looked good coming out of his hand. I mean, he had that beautiful deep ball to Berry and Brown, which was a touchdown, but the ref said it wasn't. And it looks like, okay, it's going to be it's not really going to be anything there with Nuss. And then you get deeper into the season and, the game against Ole Miss really stands out. And you could see that there was something there. And he even told you, I couldn't throw the football. I mean, he said, I couldn't really throw the football. There was a sharp pain every time he threw the football. The good news is he did follow up a little bit later on and say that he's 100%, if not close to it. And that's great. And I think you saw that at the Senior Bowl. And that's absolutely massive for Garrett Nussmeier. He ended up being the MVP of that game. Scored a rushing touchdown, led 2 out of the 3 touchdown drives in that game, and the ball looked great coming out of his hand. Now this is another opportunity for him to get in front of scouts, to go through all these interviews, to get in front of the media and speak about it. And he's passing those tests with flying colors. Garrett Nussmeier, we've talked about, has been the guy with the most to gain, really, for an LSU player at this combine. Because going into the year, he was projected to be a day 1 pick, first-round pick. And then the season went how it did. I also found it interesting. He talked about some bad habits that he developed from the injury that he needed to correct as well.
Yeah, well, just, for one, not being able to use your core as a quarterback is pretty tough, and so I had created just many different habits, whether it was arm angles or things with my feet and trying to turn around my hips instead of my abs and things like that. So just more of learning how to use my abdomen again as I'm throwing the football.
Throwing on the run, things that he just isn't accustomed to doing, trying to compensate for the injury, play through it. Now having to relearn, he said, how to kind of use his core. It's crazy. And doing that in such a short amount of time. 2 months ago. He said that in the first grade. 2 months ago. He said that at the Senior Bowl, too. That it was 2 months ago, leading into January. So you're looking at November, December. Really, December, January. The Senior Bowl was January 31st. Somewhere in that range where they finally figured it out and got him ready to play. And he's doing all of this on the fly while in the midst of the biggest and most important job interview of his life. Hard not to root for a guy like Garrett Nussmeier. Hard not to want great success for him at the next level that we all know is possible. He's a 4,000-yard passer when he was healthy and had an offensive line in front of him. He also did give a lot of love to LSU. Did that at the Senior Bowl, did it again at the Combine. It's home. It'll always be home. No regrets of his time there. And that's kind of where I want to go and kind of punctuate this conversation with is Garrett Nussmeier gave his all for LSU. And he's right. This is home for him forever. That's a guy who could have transferred out, didn't. Multiple times, didn't. When he finally got his opportunity, had a great season, threw for 4,000 yards, helped lead an incredible comeback against Ole Miss in 2024. That's what built up all this expectation for this past season. And he could have left after 2024. A team would have drafted him. But he came back. He wanted to win a national championship. And I know everybody, it's a big echo chamber where, man, Nussmeier's talking about this injury and you're finally finding out stuff. And there's just everybody, you blame Brian Kelly and blame Brian Kelly. Garrett Nussmeier told you in that clip, none of this was LSU's fault. The doctors and trainers, they did great bringing him along, getting him ready to play. Garrett Nussmeier wanted to play. He came back to win a national championship. He wasn't going to let an injury stop him from attempting to do that. And it was what we said all throughout the offseason leading into that is if you lost Garrett Nussmeier, the season was done. It was over. You saw that down the back end. When the season was out of reach, that's when he sat back. That's when he said, okay, I got to get healthy. I've got a future to think about. But until then, he was out there playing, and he was your best chance to win. You saw that at the back end of the season, too. Michael Van Buren had moments, absolutely. But the grand scheme of things, the sample size you saw, you cannot tell me with a straight face that you believe that LSU had as good a chance to go in and win that Clemson game week 1 with Michael Van Buren as a starter opposed to a hobbled Garrett Nussmeier. Because, again, that was his best game of the season. He was efficient. He didn't turn the ball over. It looked great coming out of his hands to the point where everybody said, oh, maybe it isn't that big of a deal. But as the season went along, you saw that it was. That's very unfortunate. But everything happens for a reason. If Garrett Nussmeier is able to play through that, Lane Kiffin might not be your head coach right now. I know that's not a popular take amongst many, but I think it was absolutely the right call, and I admire Garrett Nussmeier for playing through it and trying to play through it like all great athletes do. Because he had a goal and he wanted to bring something special to LSU, and he went down swinging. Now he's off to the next part of his career. He is healthy, and it's awesome to see him ascend draft boards right now, and I hope that he continues to do so. I have no doubt Garrett Nussmeier is going to nail the interview portion of the combine. He's always been great in that facet of his game. He's the son of a coach. He understands, what to do. He's going to nail that portion. It's showing them that, yeah, he's back. And you know what? Maybe he doesn't really need to, because there's enough great tape out there from Garrett Nussmeier throwing the football. But coming off that injury, I'd expect him to at least pick up a ball and throw combine or pro day. And that's going to be a big deal when he does. Because if that core is fully healthy and he's got the same zip and accuracy on the ball that he showed in 2024, he's going to make some money over the next couple of months before April's draft. I know I'm rooting for him. I'm sure all of you are as well. That's a great Tiger who gave everything he had until he literally could not anymore for this program in an era where no one does that anymore, where everybody leaves. And he did it for 5 years. So kudos to Garrett Nussmeier. Best of luck. Glad to hear he's healthy. Before we get out of the before we hit our break, he did have some thoughts on Lane Kiffin that I mentioned earlier in the segment. Promised to play it. Here was his thoughts on LSU's new head coach.
Yeah, I've known Coach Kiffin for a while. Obviously he worked with my dad at University of Alabama. My dad's last year there, and so I've known who he was, and obviously played against him for a couple years there at Ole Miss, and so I have a lot of respect for Coach Kiffin. He's an unbelievable ball coach. He's a magician with the X's and O's, and as I said before, I think he's great for the state of Louisiana. I think he's great for that locker room, and they're going to do great.
Those last few things he said, great for the state of Louisiana, great for the locker room. That's certainly playing out before your very eyes here early in the offseason for LSU. Lane's been all around town. And, obviously look at the relationships he was able to form with recruits early when he got to LSU. Lamar Brown, Richard Anderson, those guys, and retaining the talent that he was able to do at LSU. The vibes haven't been as high around LSU in a few years. I think from a confidence level in what's coming. So that's a great endorsement from Garrett Nussmeier. And look, he told you, with all his ties, remember Garrett's father coached at Alabama under Nick Saban, was an OC there on championship teams. So there are still connections over there, and got to know Lane that way. So that's awesome. And it's a great endorsement there from Garrett Nussmeier on the future of LSU football from a key member of its past. All right, we'll grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll go around the SEC, continue along here on a Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Don't go anywhere.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all eights. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. Great He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
My name is Mike Krumholt, and I've been with First American Bank for 4 years. What makes First American Bank special is we're able to offer all the products and services that any other big bank can offer. What sets us apart is being able to give that small town feel that someone can pick up the phone and they can talk to someone or stop by the branch and get excellent customer service.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim, which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You know, when we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding, and now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their number one product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at reliefwindows.com.
They're top 8 out at the box. Northeastern, who LSU will see later this weekend, is leading Grambling 3-1. They added a third run of the game in the bottom of the 6th inning. So they're that scared me. I jumped. I actually jumped. They're 6 outs away from their first win of the season. We'll kind of keep you posted on that. Again, LSU will see Northeastern on Friday. Excuse me, on Saturday at Saturday afternoon out at the box, 2 p.m. first pitch for that one. All right, it's a Friday edition of AFR. Musso in for Moscona. Scone is out today. He and Eric had to take Drew to the doctor, cardiology appointment there for our guy Drew. So Scone will be back on Monday. We'll have full recaps of Combine, LSU baseball, all of those things, and start a new week here on AFR. But I'm here to carry you the rest of the way here and send you into your weekend. While we get set to do that, we'll go ahead and go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia coordinators Mike Bobo and Glenn Schumann, they both received raises. That comes from Mark Weisner of the Athens Banner Herald. Bobo received a $700,000 raise last month. It's now just coming to light. And Glenn Schumann received a $100,000 bump in his pay. So both will make $2.2 million over the next academic year. Bobo was a finalist for the Broyles Award last season. In fact, he was the only offensive coordinator nominated for the nation's top assistant. Shout out to
the
him.
Ole Miss Rebels.
And now he got paid. A little Ole Miss basketball news here. Guard Elias Camerdine has been granted an extra year of eligibility by the NCAA. He was approved for an extra year of eligibility this season, which is why he's playing. He started his career professionally in France and played 4 seasons over there. Now, after being initially granted that 1 year, has been granted a second season. So he'll have a decision to make and is available to return for Chris Beard next season. First year here in 25-26, averaged 11 and 4 over the course of his first year, and scored 26 in that double overtime loss against LSU on what was that, Wednesday night? Wednesday night. So he has an opportunity to come back and play another year for Chris Beard over there in Oxford.
The Texas Longhorns.
And Texas basketball announced on Friday a home-and-home series with the Memphis Tigers. Memphis will travel to Austin on December 16th, 2026. The return matchup in Memphis is still to be determined. Texas is 4-2 all-time versus Memphis. The series dates back to 1965. The two teams played a home-and-home series in 2004, 2005, 2006. Texas won both of those matchups. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC here on After Further Review on a Friday. Got plenty more to come here on today's show. I mean, we've had so much content throughout the week. There's a lot of stuff we weren't able to get to, so we're going to circle back to a lot of those things. Sam Leavitt got a nice honor, so we'll touch on that a little bit later on in the show as well. Definitely have to circle back. LSU baseball, there's some more thoughts I want to give on the weekend, a few more things that we're looking for, a little bit more in-depth on some of the arms that you might see this weekend, because the ones you're going to see from Northeastern have really good stuff. It's just been consistency, command and control that's really hurt them, and to be expected from a team that lost so much like they did this weekend. But do want to give those thoughts there, and then some thoughts on the Combine from a Saints perspective. There was one player in general who had a meeting with the Saints and confirmed that in his media availability, that is at a position of need that maybe not a lot of people are talking about for New Orleans, and he could be a really, really good pickup. And as soon as I saw that he had confirmed the meeting, it got me really excited. Not to say they're going to draft him, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show as well as a roster decision for the New Orleans Saints coming up here in the next few months. It's a decision they'll have to make actually in the next 2 months, what they're going to do with a former first-round pick. So we'll obviously dive into that a little bit as well. So plenty more coming here on this edition of AFR. When we get back, we're going to grab a break. When we get back, the NFL has set the salary cap. And it is good news for your New Orleans Saints. We'll touch on that when we return next here on AFR.
After further review.
Of REV, letsrev.com. You ever just get super frustrated at super slow internet? Oh, we've all been there, man. The little spinning wheel, slamming your keyboard or your mouse, pounding the desk because it's so frustrating. Your internet's so slow. Storm comes, knocks the power out, knocks the internet out, knocks the cable out. You're so frustrated. Maybe that's just me because I get kind of angry about things. But it's annoying. Nobody wants that to happen. Rev can help. They're local and 5 gigs, lightning fast speeds, and backed by an all-fiber network. Fiber. It's buried under the ground. I mean, you don't have to worry about a storm coming knocking the power lines down. Let's Rev. Listen, more than 70,000 Louisiana homeowners and business owners trust Rev. You should as well. REV. 90 years of local experience. Let'sRev.com. Let'sRev.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I have no doubt that Our Lady of the Lake will keep me healthy. They make sure to do whatever they can in their power to make sure that we are 100%. They're constantly giving us resources, giving us advice on what to do. I think that just really helps us be the best players that we can be.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no two cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Love telling you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com. That's Arco Power Systems. You know, we talk about generators a lot in Louisiana, especially all along the Gulf Coast, where we're sort of in this storm belt right here in the Gulf Coast. Well, of course, a lot of people have home standby generators. When we talk about Arco power systems, these are not home standby generators. This is industrial generator power. This is for your business. I mean, just think about it. When the power goes out, be it a hurricane, an ice storm, snow like we had last year, power goes out. What do you do with your business? Well, being offline is not an option. That's why you need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. Just look at all the locations. Baton Rouge, Bossier, Harvey, Lake Charles, Mandeville, Mobile, LaPorte, Texas, San Antonio, Little Rock, Houston, Dallas. They're everywhere. So if you're a business and you need standby power for your business, you need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com.
Yeah, I'm proud of the New Orleans Saints. I'm proud of the Saints. I'm proud of their front office for finally taking steps to improve the salary cap. And it's about to pay off really, really big for this team. When they made all 9 draft picks, when they traded, when they worked their roster, made some trades, released all that to Derek Carr retiring, all of those things that helped get them more into salary cap compliance for this season and beyond, you're about to see that pay massive, massive dividends. So I'm proud of them. It was something they probably should have done a long, long time ago, really after Drew Brees retired. You kind of floundered there for a couple of years, still convincing yourself that you could win immediately, and you couldn't. But they finally did it. And you're going to see it pay off this offseason. The NFL today announced and set the new salary cap in the league for the 2026 season. It is an increase of $22 million. Salary cap for 2026 will be $301.2 million. Now, that leaves the Saints $10.6 million over the cap. But the New Orleans Saints being $10.6 million over the cap is like the New Orleans Saints being $35 million under the cap to start the offseason. With what they have finagled and maneuvered their way through, that is easy. They can get that done probably in 2 moves if they wanted to and clear the $10.6 million and just have nothing but money to spend after that. Ross Jackson has a nice piece over at LouisianaSports.net right now. You should go read it. It's free. You should read all of Ross's stuff. He does a great job, and it's always free. And he looks at a couple moves that the Saints could make here this offseason to free those up. One of them is a restructure to Chase Young's contract, and then, of course, tight end Juwan Johnson as well. Just in those 2 deals, you look at $6 million in clearance. And then you add in reworking Alvin Kamara, potentially a restructure to Cesar Ruiz, who knows what his future in New Orleans is anyway, and edge Carl Granderson. And right there, the Saints already have $20 million free and ready to go. Like, this has got to feel like a brave new world for the New Orleans Saints front office. You always heard, there's no such thing as cap hell, because they always got out of it and were able to put a team on the field. And for a long time, a team that competed at the highest level in the NFL. But you really saw them be hampered the last few years. I'm going to tell you what. I continue to just be nothing but impressed with the contract they gave Chase Young. They got him for a bargain, and he just turned in a 10-sack season, and you're expecting a huge jump for him. And he'll get his money. But now you can also get savings out of it with the cap and reworking it and restructuring it. They continue to look like they have hit a home run with that free agent signing. But it's important that they have these funds to spend, because, yes, you want to get numbers around and weapons and numbers around Tyler Shuck and build that up. And you can do that in free agency. You can do that in the draft. And I'll be very curious to see how they really approach that. I think you're certainly going to see some of it in the draft. But where you could really use the money in free agency is guard. I mean, there's a world where the New Orleans Saints get 2 starting guards. Again, what becomes of Cesar Ruiz? He has not been good. He's one of the worst guards in the NFL. Even with him there, you had struggles at the other guard position with Dylan Radins. So, I mean, we've talked about plenty of guys like Ed Ingram, like David Edwards. We talked about Wyatt Teller earlier this week on the show as well. There are plenty of options for the Saints. And if you're going to pay a guy in free agency on the lines of scrimmage, that's not cheap. Not saying you have to give the highest and top dollar, but it's still not cheap. So with a $22 million increase, and again, only $10.6 million over the cap, they got to think it's like Christmas morning. You got younger in the draft. You made all 9 picks. You got 7, 8 more picks coming up this year. You need to make all of them. Just keep getting younger. And you saw a lot of that young talent succeed for the New Orleans Saints a year ago. But, I mean, this is the best salary cap situation they've had in years. And it's only going to be better next offseason when hopefully they won't be over the cap at all. And then the cap will increase again next season. By how much we'll see. I don't know if it's going to be $22 million. Although, man, if you look at where the cap has gone the previous few seasons, you could be looking at another huge jump. Taylor, we did that exercise. I think the last time I was in for Matt and you were producing, I had you guess the salary cap, like from, man, like I think maybe we went far as back as 2014, right? And just to see how much it's increased in, a little bit over, a little bit over a decade there. I mean, you look at this from 2020. I mean, it's a pretty standard increase, what you've seen. 22 to 2022, it was $208 million. It went up to 224 in 23. From 224, it went up to 255 in 2024. From 24, it went up to 279 in 2025, and obviously to 301 here. So, yeah, you could be looking at another sizable gain. And then might even be under the cap potentially to start.
Was that $25-30 million a year? It's a jump. I mean, that's an extra player, Moose.
That's what you're looking at. I mean, you go back to 2015 or 2016, just 2016. So and even at 10 years, a decade. 2016, the salary cap in the NFL was $155.27 million. And now you're at $301.2 in 10 years.
It's essentially doubled.
Yes. I mean, the league is doing fantastic. They'll continue with great revenue that we know of, and they'll just, I mean, that it'll continue to go up. It will. The only year you didn't see an increase was 2010. Since 1994. The only year, 2010. Exciting times around the Saints and what they have to build around Kellen Moore, who's a great young head coach, we all feel, and Tyler Shuck, who everyone is looking to end up being the franchise quarterback. They're in a really good spot. All right, we're going to grab a break, but first, a word from Matt.
AFR is brought to you by Parish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens, commercial or residential. As a matter of fact, Parish Restoration, I love the process, by the way. If you go to the website at parishrestoration.com, you can see videos of their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. So you see exactly what it looks like. Very cool. But they have fogged, over at Parish Restoration, they fogged one of the largest buildings in the entire state of Louisiana. So it doesn't matter if it's your office building, your church, whatever it may be, school, or your home. They can even fog your car. Maybe your car has a weird odor, musty smell. Maybe you bought a used car from a smoker and you can't get that smoky smell out. This will do it. They'll come while you're at work, fog it. By the time you're done with work for the day, boom, you're back in a clean-smelling, fresh-smelling vehicle. It's Parish Restoration. Learn more at parishrestoration.com. Parishrestoration.com. Do business with someone you know. Parishrestoration.com.
All right. Up against the top of the hour here, Sports Center is next. It'll get you caught up on national headlines when we return for hour 2. The Saints have 2 months to make a very important decision with their roster regarding a former first-round pick. We'll tell you about that next here on AFR.
AFR.
Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, as we say, together we roar. Part of the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady Health System. And, you know, I love telling you about Our Lady of the Lake because whenever we talk about healthcare, Our Lady of the Lake understands the two things primarily that people want are access and convenience. And they knock that out of the park. Whether it be at the regional medical center, if it's the lake after hours, if it's any of the specialty services that you may need, heart, stroke, cancer, pediatrics, you want the best. You want Our Lady of the Lake. You can learn more about the Championship Health Partnership, OLOLRMC.com/LSU, OLOLRMC.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even JB could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of JB Falgu.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
The Cowboys tag a star. I'm Chris Smith. The Cowboys place a franchise tag on wide receiver George Pickens, which guarantees him at least $28 million in 2026. And even though Dallas has signed CeeDee Lamb to an extension in 2024 that pays him $34 million annually, ESPN Todd Archer says it's okay to have two high-paid targets.
The Eagles had two high-paid wide receivers a couple years ago, and they won the Super Bowl. The Bengals have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. So you don't want to make your team worse, and if you add if you say Pickens is gone or you're just going to have him for another year, then you're looking down the road. You got to maybe think about drafting a receiver this year to fill in later on, and then that takes away from all the stuff you have to do on defense.
Heard on ESPN Radio's Amber and Ian. The team used the non-exclusive tag on Pickens, which allows him to talk to other teams when free agency begins on March 11th. On to baseball, where the Mets plan to put out newly required ace Freddie Peralta on the mound against Pittsburgh on opening day. New York traded 2 prospects to Milwaukee for the 2-time All-Star last month after the right-hander led the National League in wins and 5th in the Cy Young voting.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ Chris Candy coming up Monday from the NBA to the Combine. I'll react to it all in my Upon Further Review at 7 a.m. Eastern. It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6 right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Off and running, hour number 2 after further review here on a Friday, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona, Taylor Sharp, Paul O'Neill along for the ride, and we're happy to have you along for the ride here as well as we begin hour 2 of what has been a jam-packed show. Still have to get into a little bit of talk about Sam Leavitt. We'll do that in the next segment. He was given a bit of an honor earlier this week, so we'll touch on that as well. Get some updates, obviously, from the Combine as we go forth. Saints and LSU guys, 3 LSU guys in action up there in Indy, and we still have plenty more LSU baseball to talk about as well. They are heading to the top of the 9th at the box. Northeastern added an additional run in the 8th, so they now lead Grambling 4-1. Northeastern is 3 outs away from their first win of the season. LSU will see the Huskies on Saturday. Okay, as we get in here to hour 2, I want to lead off with the Saints. The New Orleans Saints have 2 months. It's February 27th, call it 2 months, to make a decision about a former first-round pick on their current roster, and that is Bryan Bresee. That decision, pick up the 5th-year option or don't pick up the 5th-year option. Mickey Loomis, when he met with reporters at the Senior Bowl last month, was asked, as part of a litany of questions, was asked about Bryan Bresee's 5th-year option and if they'd already made a decision on that.
We'll get to that. We just, we're early in the process here, and timing's a little different this year because of the number of people we have in this game, but we'll get to that soon.
Understandable. The Saints did have damn near their entire coaching staff at the Senior Bowl, but it's okay, Mickey. I can answer that question for you. The answer is no. You flatly no, you do not pick up Bryan Bresee's 5th-year option. And there's reason why: cost, performance, all of those things. Let's kind of take them one by one. Bryan Bresee, when he was drafted out of Clemson in first round by the New Orleans Saints, that was a pick that I think a lot of people endorsed and liked. And you know what? He got off to a pretty good start in his rookie year. It wasn't great from a run defense perspective, but he's acclimating to the NFL, the speed of the game, all of those things. Where he did excel was pass rush. As a rookie, 4.5 sacks and 7 TFLs for Bryan Bresee as a rookie. And it's like, okay, now can he take the next step in his game year 1 to year 2? Well, in the pass rush, he did, but the run game still lacked behind for a guy like Bresee. But he ended up with 7.5 sacks in his second season in the NFL, another 7 TFLs. You're going into year 3, new system, Brandon Staley comes in, and it did not go well for Bryan Bresee. Just 2.5 sacks, and that had been the best part of his game. And the run defense continued to lack. As a matter of fact, Bryan Bresee, in his 3 seasons in the NFL, has graded out a 28.8 in run defense per PFF. That ranks him 173rd out of 179 defensive tackles. He is a one-dimensional player at this point in his career. And that stinks. It really does. Because, again, I think that was a pick that was largely endorsed. I thought it was going to work out great. And it just hasn't. He has turned into a rotational piece at defensive tackle. And not just a rotational piece among veterans. I mean, you've got Devon Godshaw and Nathan Shepard, who are both in their early and mid-30s. That's who he's rotating with. Can't beat those guys out a little bit, earn those starts. The durability has been there for a guy like Bresee, and that's very encouraging. He played all 17 games his first 2 years, only 15 this past season. But I think it's fair to wonder and look at this and ask yourself, okay, the run defense that has not come along the way you had hoped, now in a new system in Brandon Staley's defense, you even saw the sack numbers drop. Is he just not a fit for what the current regime at the New Orleans Saints want to do? That's the on-field performance part, and you can't ignore that. Then there's the cost. I want to illustrate it this way. Bryan Bresee's rookie deal. His rookie deal. 4 years, $12.6 million. Standard rookie deal. If the Saints were to pick up Bryan Bresee's fifth-year option, they would owe him a guaranteed $12.9 million. Almost $13 million. They would owe him more than his entire rookie contract for one season. That is, you cannot justify that for a rotational, one-dimensional player like he has become. To pay him and guarantee him $13 million, there is no chance. That would be an indefensible move. Now, I think you look at history here for the New Orleans Saints, at least recent, and you see them starting to decline more fifth-year options on their guys because it's becoming more expensive. It is, the fifth-year option is calculated off of an average of salaries at that position. All the way up to, I think it's like the top 25 salaries or so. Of at that position. You average it out, and that's how you get it. So with the market continuing to be reset, those averages go up. Ross Jackson, another great piece up at LouisianaSports.net involving this, takes a look back. And you have seen the Saints, since Marcus Davenport in 2018, when they exercised his fifth-year option, they have had 4 chances to exercise fifth-year options on 4 other players. They have done it one time. It was Chris Olave this past offseason. They did not exercise Cesar Ruiz's option, although they ended up extending him, which that was a miscalculation in and of itself. See just about any other conversation we've had this season about Cesar Ruiz and his play. He ranks amongst guards in the NFL like Bryan Bresee ranks amongst defensive tackles. Anyway, they did not exercise Peyton Turner. Thank the Lord. He was off to free agency. They did not exercise Trevor Penning this offseason, and he was, of course, traded at the deadline. Chris Olave they did, and he's still there. Everything's getting more expensive, and you cannot justify for a one-dimensional rotational player like Bryan Bresee paying him almost $13 million more than his rookie deal. I would expect them to decline that option, and then you see what you want to do there. Because I've got news for you. If you want him to hit free agency, that's fine. If you want him to test free agency, there's not a lot of market out there, and you sign him back as a rotational piece on a salary that makes sense for that role, okay. There are things he can bring. We've talked about the pass rush. But I'm going to tell you, defensive tackle is fast becoming a position of need for the New Orleans Saints. We mentioned Godshaw, we mentioned Shepard. They are under contract for this season, and then they hit free agency, and they are aging veterans. You still don't know what you have in Vernon Broughton because of the injury. You didn't get to see him this season. Maybe you hit there. And maybe you start to see some of that this season for the New Orleans Saints, and you build that position around him. But make no mistake, over the course of the next few off seasons, given what you're going to lose in free agency, potentially in aging veterans, this is a spot that the New Orleans Saints have got to address, whether it's in the draft, the next 2 drafts, or in free agency. You have to be strong in the trenches. You feel pretty good about what you have out at the edge. Man, you hit well with Chase Young, so it seems. Carl Granderson is a nice complementary piece. Would you like another, solid stud guy opposite Chase Young? Sure. We'll see what they do with Cam Jordan, but it certainly seems like he's should come back on a 1-year deal for the New Orleans Saints. But you're going to decline this option, or at least let me say, you should decline this option with Bryan Bresee. And that's going to raise more question marks for that position going forward in the future of the New Orleans Saints. As for Bresee, this is going to be a huge year for him. It's a contract year, and as I said, we'll know by May 1st. You got 2 months. May 1st is the deadline for these options. And he's either going to know he's going into a year where, man, you're playing for a contract either with the New Orleans Saints or with someone else. And you're going to need to make a sizable jump in a system that you just weren't really featured in a season ago. But one thing's for certain. You cannot justify picking up a 5th-year option for Bryan Bresee at that price, given the level of production that he has put forth, not for a former first-round pick. All right. Without further review here on a Friday, sending you off into your weekend, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Scone will be back on Monday, ready to talk and recap everything that happened for this busy weekend. But for now, we're going to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. Sam Leavitt, he's being talked about with the nation's elite. We'll tell you about it next here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Dr. Johnson, that's my guy. He gonna tell me when I need to do better. He gonna tell me when I need to slow down. And I trust him 100%. The medical care that I receive at LSU and with Our Lady of the Lake is top tier. I really trust what they telling me, and they keep me right.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient. And the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT.
River Parish Contractors, they're here. They're in reserve. They do work here. Actually, River Parish Contractors serves businesses from Baton Rouge to Chalmette. So when we say they're like an hour from everywhere, it's kind of what it is. I mean, no matter where you are, you can get there within an hour. River Parish Contractors, rpcontractors.com, rpcontractors.com. And because they're local, they do work locally. Like, they're not interested in doing work in California or San Antonio or anywhere else. They want to do work here. It's River Parish Contractors. And one of the things also is they know who they are, right? There are some mega contractors that do these $100 million jobs. That's not River Parish Contractors. So you want to focus on it's a $15 million job. River Parish Contractors, they'll nail it for you. They fabricate and install themselves, so it's easier on the engineers, significant cost savings as well because of taxes. It's River Parish Contractors. You got to know them if you don't already. rpcontractors.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Rolling along here after further review on a Friday, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona. We're still a little bit away from LSU starting spring football, although Missouri started spring football today and South Carolina starts spring football on Wednesday. Why are we starting spring football so early? Missouri's baseball team played their home opener on Tuesday, and they're starting spring football practice. I don't think the weather is very good up in Como. Might be a little bit better in Columbia, South Carolina, but anyway. Is it me, or did it feel like spring practice used to start at like the end of March or the middle of March? The first week, even before in Missouri's case. Crazy. Anyway, LSU's will start later. And in that, all eyes will be on the newcomers and the transfers. And included in that is Sam Leavitt. How much is he able to do? Lane Kiffin said he'll be able to throw some 7-on-7s, do some work of that nature, mobility and all that. You'll keep an eye on, really kind of the stationary work and at least getting to throw and no contact. That's, I think, gives everybody a lot of hope for him being able to build rapport with the wide receivers, things of that nature early. Obviously, get some reps in the offense, in the playbook, and really be able to study and continue to rehab that Liz Frank injury. So that eases some concern there. And the reason why is because, man, while I think everyone's really excited about Husan Longstreet coming in as a former 5-star, and, he and Landon Clark are going to get the majority of reps and really see what they have there, it's safe to say your wagon is hitched to Sam Leavitt here in year one of Lane Kiffin. And it makes a lot of sense why. He's the guy with the experience in college football, as well as leading a team, helping lead a team to a college football playoff appearance at Arizona State. Pro Football Focus, with spring practice starting in some places, Missouri, has already begun their series of the top 10 returning players at certain positions for 2026. It started with, you guessed it, quarterbacks. Julian Sayin, no surprise, number 1 returning quarterback in the country at Ohio State. He was awesome a year ago, Heisman finalist, and I think really should be the front runner to win the Heisman Trophy here this season. He'll get to throw to Jeremiah Smith and those guys all again this year. Dante Moore, number 2, that should come as no surprise either. I mean, if he would have entered the draft, he was quarterback 2 right behind Fernando Mendoza and probably would have been taken by the New York Jets there with the number 2 overall pick. So that shouldn't really be a surprise that you see that. Arch Manning at 3, not a surprise. Trinidad Chambliss now at the waiver at number 4, not a surprise. I think you really, really look at those top 4 and go, makes a lot of sense. I was surprised with C.J. Carr being number 5 at Notre Dame. I mean, I thought he had a nice year. He wasn't, super dynamic, but he did get to start the entire season and returning in Mike Denbrock's offense. I think it's safe to say a sizable jump, but I think seeing some of these transfers there might have been intriguing, or even a guy like Jaden Mayava who came in at number 6. I mean, what quarterbacks do in that Lincoln Riley offense, and he had a really nice season a year ago, threw for 3,700 yards. He was very, very good. Maybe a little surprised there. But then you get into the transfers. Brendan Sorsby was 7th, and then Sam Leavitt is right there at number 8. And Leavitt entered, just to give you some context, he entered the 2025 season in these rankings number 2. But, of course, the injury happened, and he was limited, and it didn't pan out for him. He only got 7 games. But in those 7 games, he scored 10 touchdowns. Also orchestrated an upset of Texas Tech, who ended up in the playoff and was awesome that day. But he falls from number 2 last year to number 8 this season. PFF notes, developed some bad gunslinger habits when he was on the field. A lot of that could have been due to the injury, trying to overcompensate for losing a lot of his mobility. And posted a 3.9% turnover-worthy play rate that was significantly higher from the season Arizona State went to the college football playoff, when it was just at 1.1%. It's fair to say, okay, if he is healthy, you would expect the decision-making and all of those things to improve and go back toward what it was as his redshirt freshman year in 2024, especially in Lane Kiffin's offense, which decision-making is so key, but it is a quarterback-friendly offense where they kind of know where they need to go with the football. As Lane Kiffin has said himself, it's an offense that is very easy for players to pick up in the first year. So I think it's reasonable to expect a return to the norm if Leavitt is healthy 100% and ready to go for LSU come the opener against Clemson, which all signs point to that. So you check that mark, you feel good about decision making. Even with 7 games, even with just 7 games a season ago, his PFF grade over the last 2 seasons, 87.8, ranks 7th among all Power 4 returning quarterbacks. And even with the gunslinger and the turnover and the lack of mobility a year ago with the Liz Frank injury, he still was 8th among all quarterbacks in the nation under pressure. He graded out as 68 under pressure and was 10th among all quarterbacks in big-time throw rate. All it really takes for Sam Leavitt is get those turnovers down. And if he does that, he's a big play waiting to happen in a big play offense under Lane Kiffin. And that is very, very encouraging. And I actually like the fact that he will be limited in spring. I think that allows him to really ingrain himself in the study portion of this and learn this offense and be ready to go come fall camp, when hopefully he is able to be included in the team periods and in the contact periods and things of that nature, and really show what he can do. I think it would be great to get to a world where you limit your quarterbacks anyway in spring practice, especially in this transfer portal time when they're coming in, to where you can get the reps 7-on-7, things of that nature, but really dive headfirst into the offense. I'm intrigued to see how that goes for a guy like Sam Leavitt. And like I said, I kind of like it. I think it's going to work to his benefit, getting here when he did and being able to do that. So Sam Leavitt, the number 8 returning quarterback, according to Pro Football Focus. It's some really good numbers and grades to back that up, even in limited action. If you're wondering, Darian Mensah now at Miami, he ranked 9th on this list, and Noah Fafita at Arizona 10th. Man, just what an interesting career that guy ended up having. On Jed Fish's offense, it was great, especially with Tet McMillan, and lose him, Fafita's back. It just wasn't the same after Jed Fish took the Washington job, but certainly a talented player in Noah Fafita. But Sam Leavitt, number 8 there on that list for LSU and Lane Kiffin as they head into year number 1 and spring number 1 here in about a month or so out there on the Ponderosa. We'll have you covered plenty with that here on AFR. It'll be interesting also to see the access that we get this go round for spring. Obviously, Brian Kelly opened it up just more than anybody has in recent memory at LSU. Do not expect Lane Kiffin to do that. He was not want to do that at Ole Miss very much through spring, but we'll bring you what we can bring you. Again, the Tigers are about a month out from opening spring practice. Okay, we are due for a break here, but first a word from Matt.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. In the market for a new vehicle, might be in the market for a new vehicle. Say it all the time. Just put Volkswagen on your list. So much of the Volkswagen brand is built around having fun. It exudes that when you go to South Point Volkswagen. They're going to work a great deal and they got the best inventory. Remember, if it's on the lot, it's online at southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned. Check their entire inventory online. Work out your financing online. Do it all online at southpointvw.com. Then go see them at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
Show over?
Sounded
like it was over.
I need to fix that. I keep saying that, and I actually did have to go through and fix lives today, so we had updated ones, and I didn't fix that.
But the show's not over?
The show is not over. No. We are at the halfway mark, though. Halfway mark here on a Friday, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona. We'll grab a break, come back on the other side. Updates from the NFL Combine, including one player that the Saints visited with that is at a position of need that I really want them to draft now. We'll tell you about that next here on AFR.
AFR.
If you fill up Tiger Stadium 15 times, that'd be roughly 1.5 million people. That's how many realtors there are in the United States. Darren James ranked number 14 in the country when it comes to the numbers of homes sold. That's Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list. Think about what I just said. Fill up Tiger Stadium 15 times, and of all those people, Darren James ranked number 14. You need to get to a closing table. Need to sell your home fast for the most amount of money. You need the absolute best customer service experience with constant communication and results. Well, you need Darren James. So, call Darren. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666. That's Darren Sell. Or go to agent225.com, agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. No, the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Dr. Johnson, that's my guy. He gonna tell me when I need to do better. He gonna tell me when I need to slow down. And I trust him 100%. The medical care that I receive at LSU and with Our Lady of the Lake is top tier. I really trust what they telling me, and they keep me right.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good, you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
NFL Combine in full swing up in Indianapolis. You've had interviews with team, formal and informal. You've had a bunch of media availability from head coaches, from GMs. You're starting to see it happen from players alike, and now you're even into the drills and the workout and the testing portion that everybody really loves to nerd out about the NFL, about with the NFL Combine. Obviously, there's plenty of positions to keep an eye on with the New Orleans Saints. Taylor, if I were to ask you right now, top of your head, no prep involved in this, the top positions of need for the New Orleans Saints for the 2026 NFL Draft, what would you say?
Probably some combination of receiver, pass rusher.
Receiver, pass rusher. That's what you've heard a lot. Receiver, pass rusher. You've heard cornerback mixed in there a little bit.
Yep, DB.
Linebacker even. They've gotten a lot of buzz with Sonny Styles here lately. Of course, that would really factor into pass rusher as well. It doesn't look like an Arvell Reese would fall to him, but those are the ones. And for good reason. You need a second cornerback. You really kind of need a number one, depending on your take on Kool-Aid and McKinstry. Receiver, definitely need that there. Chris Olave and whatnot. But a position of need for the New Orleans Saints that's flying under the radar is tight end. Have you looked at the tight end roster for the New Orleans Saints of guys who are under contract for 2026 right now?
It's not a lot.
Not a lot. Starts with Juwan Johnson. He's got 2 years left on his deal, but he's 30 years old. He's getting up there. You drafted Maliki Mataval a year ago, saw him very sparingly, so you still have him on his rookie deal. That's about it. Taysom Hill is a free agent, and his NFL future is very much up in the air. We can go back to the end of last season and his final game in the Dome and how emotional he was after that. Didn't sound like a guy who was going to be back in New Orleans or maybe even not back in the NFL at all. Foster Moreau is a free agent. You could bring him back on a one-year deal again if you want to. See what that can do. He's had his injury problems, obviously, and it's kind of hampered any type of production you could really get out of him in New Orleans, which is a bummer because we all love Foster here. New Orleans guy, went to LSU, wore 18 at LSU, all those things. But you don't have a lot of numbers there. That is a sneaky position of need for the Saints in this year's draft. Not one that you have to go out and draft early, but that's someone you could get day 2, day 3 in the draft. And there's one in particular on day 2 to keep an eye on. And the Saints are Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt. When he met with reporters on Thursday at the Combine, he confirmed that he informally met with the New Orleans Saints. He also talked about Tyler Shuck and possibly playing with him and kind of raved about Shuck. He liked what he did his rookie season. He'll continue to get better and ultimately be a really successful NFL quarterback. One way to help with that is pair Eli Stowers with Tyler Shuck. Now, not going to sit here and tell you he's a complete tight end. He's not yet. He really needs to get better in the blocking phase. But this is a guy, and he admitted this in his media availability, who played quarterback before he got to college. And then they moved him to the tight end position. Started his career at New Mexico State, transferred over, spent the last 2 seasons at Vanderbilt, where he was wildly productive, especially in the receiving game, so much so that he was a Mackey Award finalist in 2024, came back and won the Mackey Award for the nation's best tight end in 2025. All told, in his 2-year career at Vanderbilt in the SEC, for 2 of the more successful Vanderbilt teams of all time, he registered 1,400 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns. Showed big playability as well, and obviously was a threat down in the red zone. Please let this happen. I know the Saints have more pressing needs. We talked about them to start this segment. But man, if the name of the game is surround Tyler Shuck with weapons, surround your young quarterback on a rookie deal with weapons, and you can get a weapon like Eli Stowers on day 2 of the draft at some point, do it. Absolutely do it. Because at worst, he's Juwan Johnson, who's a receiving threat for you out on the edge. The size is good, 6'4", 235. The playmaking ability is just fully on display for a guy like Eli Stowers. And you don't really need to worry about the character, things of that nature. Intelligence is there. Along with the John Mackey Award, he won the William Campbell Trophy his final year at Vanderbilt. That's awarded to the player who shows the most combined excellence in academics and football. So you know he's going to be able to come in, learn a system. You've already seen him learn 2 in college. I want this to happen so bad. And you know what? Maybe I'm dreaming because, again, there's more pressing issues. But a position that's under the radar is tight end because of what you have coming back. And you still have the offseason free agency, and you could bulk up there. But, man, I would love a weapon like Eli Stowers for Tyler Shuck. It just depends on if the Saints see it that way and when they would go to pull the trigger on it. But even with an informal visit, it shows you they're at least thinking about it. And I think it would just be, I think it'd be a home run. I think it would be a home run for the New Orleans Saints if they could somehow end up with Stowers on day 2. One more target that we know for the Saints that confirmed a visit is Carnell Tate. And Carnell Tate is likely going to be the first wide receiver off the board, especially given the injury history of Jordan Tyson right now, and he's having to answer a lot of questions about that at the NFL Combine. You're more and more seeing Mekhi Lemon mocked to the Saints now at 8, not Carnell Tate, but that would be a huge pickup and a home run as well. That's a guy who immediately comes in and solves your need at the X position. Good size, a little bit over 200 pounds, 6'3", 6'4", in that range. Comes from a wide receiver factory at Ohio State. Had just shy of 900 yards this season while having to, split time there with a guy like Jeremiah Smith in that receiving room. Still got his. You could pair him with another Ohio State guy in Chris Olave. There's just a lot of reasons to like Carnell Tate. And when he met with the media on Thursday as well, he spoke about his visit with New Orleans.
It's a great opportunity. I think probably they may be out there looking for another offensive weapon to pair up with Chris and also to help Tyler in his career. So it'll be a great opportunity to go out there and help the Saints win.
Have you spoken with the Saints?
I did have a meeting with the Saints.
Okay, how did that go?
That meeting went great as well. We talked about my film. They critiqued me on a couple of routes. It was a great meeting.
A lot of that's going to depend on how the draft falls for New Orleans if they end up with Carnell Tate, but you can tell they're clearly interested there, as they should be. And I think the other thing is that might show you kind of where the Saints' head is at for that position. I pass rusher could be a thing, but it feels like you might be able to get that a little bit later in the draft, especially because some of the top ones are going to be off the board before you, like a David Bailey, like an Arvell Reese. How do you feel about Sonny Styles? I think he would fit actually phenomenally in Brandon Staley's defense. You saw Isaiah Stallbird rush the passer so well from a linebacker position on third down in Staley's scheme. That could easily be Sonny Styles, and he set the combine on fire, y'all. He had the fastest 40 from a linebacker. He had one of the best all-time vertical leaps, 43 inches from the linebacker position. The guy's a freak athlete, and, I mean, his unofficial relative athletic score was a 9.9 out of 10. Unofficial, but that relative athletic score, he went to Ohio State. The Saints would love to have him. They might have already just drafted him in their dreams. But it feels like receiver's going to be the pick. Feels like receiver's kind of going to be the pick. And if Carnell Tate falls to them, I think that'd be magnificent. For the New Orleans Saints. And if you end up with Mekhi Lemon, you're not going to shake a stick at that either, man. It certainly seems like in some of these mock drafts, and yes, a mock draft is worth about as much as the paper they're printed on. It's the old cliche. We know that. But you're seeing Lemon go as wide receiver 2 right now, which is why you're seeing him more to the Saints, with Jordan Tyson falling a little bit behind, given the injury history and especially it being a soft tissue injury with the hamstring. We'll see. We'll see which direction they go, but man, Eli Stowers. I think that's my dream right now, is the Saints end up with Stowers on day 2. And he just comes in and is an incredible weapon in the red zone and all over the field for the New Orleans Saints and their rookie quarterback, Tyler Shough. It feels like a match made in heaven. Make it a formal interview, Saints. Get him for a top 30 visit or something. What are we doing? Get Eli Stowers to know. Hey, look, he already wore black and gold last year. He's got a lot of it in the closet. Get Eli Stowers to New Orleans. All right. We're going to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side, wrap up the hour. Taylor will handle the duties with Tigers and the pros. That's next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources. If you are a business owner, if you're an HR manager, a VP, an ops manager, if you're the person in charge of hiring at your job, at your place of business, and you're having trouble finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. And I want to remind you, Glow Resources, they're exceptional when it comes to skilled blue-collar workers and also white-collar divisions. Remember, Glow Resources has a full professional placement division. So we're talking about office administrators, executive-level assistants, assistant controllers, plant managers, scheduling assistants, basically any type of office job. Accounting, HR, marketing, managerial, supervisor roles. If you're having trouble finding those people and sometimes hard to fill roles, Glow Resources specialize. They recruit nationwide. For example, they had a Baton Rouge company that was looking for an engineer. They found the employee in Florida, to work the job in California. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online today. glowresources.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jordan Faber here with some exciting news. Faber Automotive has officially arrived. We're proud to introduce your new hometown dealership, Faber Chevrolet GMC. That means more inventory, better deals, and the same great local team. Now backed by the trusted Faber family name. Whether you're shopping or servicing, you'll feel the difference from day one. Allow us the opportunity to earn your business.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Visit us in St. Francisville or online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Dr. Johnson, that's my guy. He gonna tell me when I need to do better. He gonna tell me when I need to slow down. And I trust him 100%. The medical care that I receive at LSU and with Our Lady of the Lake is top tier. I really trust what they telling me, and they keep me right.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You can book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, you can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac, you can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, if you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, you can walk in without a reservation, see if you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
All right, put a button here on hour number two of After Further Review on a Friday. Turn the honors over to Taylor here. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
We're starting on the baseball diamond. Yesterday's spring training, Toronto Blue Jays, Miami Marlins. Former LSU infielder Cade Doty getting some action. He got a spring training invite for the Blue Jays. He got in there, got some action at third base. Went 0 for 1 at the plate. Toronto did lose that game to the Marlins 8-7. But shout out Cade Doty getting in there, getting that spring training invite. Moving over to the hardwood, the Houston Rockets take down the Orlando Magic 113-108. Our guy Tari Eason got 33 minutes. A little bit of a weird stat line for Tari. So only 2 points on the night, 1 for 5 shooting, but he did grab 8 rebounds. He had 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. So did a little bit of everything defensively for the Rockets. They didn't ask him to do a ton on the offensive end. On the season, Tari Eason, another solid year, 11.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 1.6 assists per game. Over to Philadelphia. The 76ers take down the Miami Heat 124-117. And Trendon Watford, 11 points off the bench. Again, just 1 for 2 shooting with 2 points, but 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He did have a block as well. And Watford on the year, just 6 points, but 3.5 rebounds per contest to go along with 2.5 assists. And finally, the Minnesota Timberwolves 94, the LA Clippers 88. This game was yesterday afternoon. And Naz Reid, former LSU star, 29 minutes off the bench. He had 11 points, 5 of 6 shooting. Now he was 0 for 2 from 3, but to go along with those 11 points, how about 7 rebounds, a steal, and 2 blocks for our guy Naz Reid. On the year, Naz actually having the best season of all the guys I just mentioned. 14.1 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game, shooting 47% from the court for the Timberwolves. Another solid season from our guy Naz Reid. That is Tigers in the pros.
Should have stayed. We'll keep that bit going here even in Matt's absence. Update from the NFL Combine. A.J. Halsey weighed in at 215 pounds. Just took his turn at the 40-yard dash. Unofficially, we have a 4.54 second 40-yard dash.
That's excellent
for A.J. Halsey. That is very, very, very good. I mean, he's going to be a day 2 guy, and it feels like that's kind of going to be highway robbery when he goes on day 2. That kind of feels like when Grant Delpit fell to day 2.
Yep.
Like that's kind of, and the Browns got a steal there, and he's been a force in their secondary ever since they took him out of LSU in that 2020 draft. And it feels like A.J. Halsey is kind of destined for the same thing. 4.54 unofficial at 215 pounds. That is very, very good because you know the ball skills. You saw the tackling ability from Halsey all year at LSU. Like, the tape is the tape. For him to go there and be able to test well now and show the agility and things of that nature, that's only going to improve his draft stock more and more. So congratulations to him. Mansour Delane also at the Combine today did not run the 40-yard dash, chose to not participate in that. It makes sense for a guy like Delane. I mean, you talk about the proof is in the pudding, the hay is in the barn, the tape is the tape. I mean, that is Mansour Delane. He was the best cover cornerback in college football this season. Like, kind of by a wide margin in a sense. I mean, his grades, PFF, again, it's not the be-all, end-all, but he was far and away kind of the best guy there. So he put out enough good tape there where the Combine for him is much more about the interviews and the medical and all of that. So great to see, though, A.J. Halsey, again, unofficially a 4.54 second 40-yard dash at 215 pounds. Somebody's going to be very, very happy when they write A.J. Halsey's name on the card on day 2 of the draft and turn it up into the commissioner. Okay, we're set for top of the hour break. It is final. First game of the day at the box. Northeastern, they knocked off Grambling 4-1. That's the Huskies' first win of the season. They are 1-5, and that is the record they will carry into their game Saturday afternoon against the LSU Tigers, which will be an uphill task there for sure. That's what we're going to talk about when we get back from the second from SportsCenter to start hour number 3. We'll dive back into some LSU baseball, some keys, some things I'm wanting to see this weekend from the Tigers, as well as a note on some of the arms you can expect to see from Dartmouth and Northeastern to face the Tiger Bats, which have been very, very productive so far here on the early season. We'll have that for you to start hour number 3, and then hopefully get you a check of the lineup before we get out of here. And also, the NFLPA report cards were released. There were some significant improvements for the New Orleans Saints. That's why I want to bring it up. So we'll do that in hour number 2 as well. Y'all stick around. SportsCenter's next, national headlines, and then we're sending you into the weekend here on a Friday edition of AFR.
After further review.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
No Slim Pickens for Dallas, signed Chris Smith.
The Cowboys place a franchise tag on wide receiver George Pickens, which guarantees him almost $28 million in 2026. And ESPN host Freddie Coleman has the key to get a long-term contract done by July 15th.
They better make sure Jerry Jones is not in the room. Have Stephen Jones handle this negotiation, because the last time that David Mogetta and Jerry Jones were negotiating for one of David Mogetta's clients, it ended with Micah Parsons going to the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys, who got a nice haul in return. So if a long-term deal is what's going to be on the table potentially, they have to make sure Jerry Jones is not in that room. Have Stephen Jones report to Jerry and go from there.
Heard on ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry. The team views the non-exclusive tag on Pickens, which allows him to talk to other teams when free agency begins on March 11th. Meanwhile, the NFL salary cap is topped $300 million for the first time, with a $22 million increase over the last year. And the NFLPA Executive Committee has narrowed their search for a permanent executive director to a group that includes interim executive director David White, former union strategy officer J.C. Treader.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
Off and running, hour number 3 after further review here on a Friday, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona. Moscona will be back on Monday. Taylor Sharp, Paul O'Neill along for the ride, and glad you're along for the ride here as we send you into your weekend. 1 hour to go. If you're just getting off work, hopping in the car, we appreciate you for making us a part of your day. LSU baseball, they will open up a 4-game weekend in about an hour and a half out at the box. Face Dartmouth on Friday night, Northeastern Saturday afternoon, Dartmouth again on Sunday afternoon, and Northeastern to round out the weekend there on Monday evening out at the box. Northeastern earlier today defeated Grambling at Alec Box Stadium 4-1. That was the Huskies' first win on the young season. What I want to do here in this segment with LSU baseball, I want to tell you a little bit about what I want to see from the Tigers as they take on these two teams over the course of the weekend. Because these two teams both come in licking some wounds. LSU has the talent advantage by a lot. LSU, is just the more fundamentally sound team by a lot. LSU's big favorites this weekend for a reason. But coming off of a loss where some things didn't go necessarily great for you, you look for improvements there. Coming off of a weekend that went very well for you, especially from a starting pitching standpoint, what can you see there as well? And I think there's plenty. We'll start on the mound. And I'll start with starting pitching. A weekend ago, Casey Evans, Cooper Moore, William Schmidt, they combined to give LSU 15 2/3 innings pitched. All of them went at least 5. And they pitched to an ERA of 2.9. They were very, very good. It wasn't without some hiccups, but for the most part, they were very, very good. Let's start with Casey Evans. I need you to at least match what you did a week ago. That's what I'm looking for. Can you get me 5 good innings again to where LSU has the lead when you leave? It would be nice to also see him limit damage a little bit better, avoid that big inning. That's what's hampered him in these starts. He had the 4-run 4th against Milwaukee, the 3-run 3rd against Indiana. Can you limit that? Really avoid giving up the big hit in those innings? Because I'll tell you, when I look at LSU's pitching staff, the thing for me that has, been the intrigue for me with this LSU pitching staff, it's been them giving up that big hit. I know a lot of people want to focus on the free passes. That's fine. LSU is going to get that figured out. They struggled with free passes for a time a year ago. They got that figured out. It'll happen again. The big hit's a little more concerning because that's what's made those free passes hurt. Look at Tuesday night in that second inning. Or excuse me, the second inning. Free passes loaded the bases. Free passes brought a couple in, but that was all with 2 outs. What blew it open and ultimately was the difference in the game was the two RBI single that Cooper Williams allowed to Barbero from McNeese State. You get out of that inning with just 2, you have a much better chance, but you give that big hit that allowed 2 more to come in. And that's kind of been a thing for LSU's pitching staff going throughout. Case and Evans included in that. So get me 5, at least again, and limit the damage. That's the baseline here. If you want to see more, I would tell you he's thrown 70 to 80 pitches kind of in each outing. Let's get you into the 90s. And if he's cruising along and he's efficient, he's landing his secondary stuff, which will, lead to more efficiency, can you get me 6? Can we just continue to lengthen that out? With Cooper Moore, I'm already at the point where I'm just like, hey, man, go out there and do your thing. But keep doing what you're doing. He's been awesome. He has thrown 80% strikes one week and 79% strikes the next week. He gave up the big fly, which kind of messed up his line a little bit against Notre Dame, but he was exceptional that day as well. The strikeout numbers are up. He walked his first batter of the year. He went to his first 3-ball count of the year in like the 3rd inning against Notre Dame. He's just been awesome, and if he's able to have that stuff again, he will cruise. I feel very confident in him being able to get anybody out really the course of the season. So for him, it's really just kind of do what you do. Can he extend a little bit more? I'd love to see that from him. Higher pitch count, things of that nature. I think that'd be great. Then you get to William Schmidt, and this is the same vein with Case and Evans. I need you to at least get me 5 again like you did. I want to see you land the breaking stuff at the same clip or close to like you did against UCF, because that completely changed the game for William Schmidt. It's the conversation I've been having about him ever since last season when he debuted, and it's something that he mentioned himself here on AFR on Monday about how big that was for him in that outing. It led to more strikes. It led to more strikeouts. 1 walk. That was the key, and he threw shutout baseball. I'm not asking you to go 5 shutout again, but I am asking you to go to 5 again. That's a guy who has got to 90 pitches each of his first 2. Can you have a little bit more efficiency, maybe get into the 6th inning this go-round, or they extend you over 100 here in week 3, and that helps you do that. For Evans and Schmidt, it's simple. Match the 5 innings. And then we could talk about you extending depending on where you are in the game. Jay Johnson was asked about William Schmidt when he met with the media on Thursday and about that development that they've seen so far from his freshman year into 2 starts here in 2026.
I think he's going to be really good. I've always thought that. I think he's working really hard. I think he's used his experience well. We have a process we're building with him to get him prepared to pitch and execute that I feel really good about for his structure of his entire week, that I think he's taken another level of ownership over. A player like I'm heavily involved in it, even though I'm not the pitching coach. And then obviously, having Coach Yeski's experience with good young pitchers and then bringing them along, Jamie's expertise, I feel like you're just going to see him continue to get better.
That's ultimately what everybody's looking for, is for him to make that jump. And hopefully he will. A couple of other things, hopefully he will continue to do so. A couple of other things to look at here that I'm watching for this weekend. LSU's catchers, Cade Arenbeet and Omar Cerna, controlling the running game. Both Dartmouth and Northeastern like to run on the base paths. Northeastern, for instance, today in their game against Grambling, they stole 10 bases. In one game, they stole 10 bases. That is very much a part of their offense. it is of Dartmouth's as well. This is really the first time Cade Arambidi is going to be challenged with slowing down an aggressive base running team. And I want to see how he does. We know he's got a cannon behind the plate. The same goes for Omar Cerna, because Omar Cerna is going to catch this weekend, most likely on Saturday against Northeastern. Maybe they hold that off because they're so volatile on the bases. You might want to see Arambidi in there at that spot. But Arambidi's not going to catch all 4 games. Cerna's going to get in there. And when he does, he's going to have to be ready to control the running game as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. LSU has got to be fundamentally sound in the field and everywhere, on the mound and in the field. You have to limit free passes. And when the ball is hit to you, catch it, make sure it goes to its desired destination. Throw it to the right place. Get the out. These teams, the way they stay in these games is if you allow them to. See Tuesday night. Not to say that they don't have talented players. We talked about that. Look, Dartmouth's a very veteran team. Northeastern's got a lot of guys back from their lineup a year ago, but they're off to a slow start, and on the mound, they're replacing 90% of their innings from a year ago. Don't give these teams second chances. Fundamentally sound. And then I want to see a fast start from LSU on offense again in each game. They kind of got outside of themselves, as Jay Johnson said post-game, in that McNeese game. Now later, they kind of got back to that constant pressure. The big hit just eluded them that night. That's going to happen sometimes. I wouldn't expect that to really hamper LSU this weekend. But the fast start is going to be really key too, because again, we're talking about not letting these teams hang around. You get out there, you get them down early, and you should be able to dictate the pace of this weekend entirely. A couple of the arms that LSU will see. Nate Eisler has led the rotation for Dartmouth so far this season. He has allowed 3 earned runs over 4 innings in 2 starts. He has struck out 5 for the Big Green. Imagine that's potentially who you see for for Dartmouth against LSU here tonight. They have not posted a lineup yet, but that's just a guy to look at for Northeastern. Robbie O'Connor, their Friday night guy, pitched earlier today as expected. Andrew Wirtz has been their Saturday guy, and that's a big arm from Andrew Wirtz. You're looking at 95 to 97 on the fastball. Stock righty, got a nice breaking ball to go along with it as well. So it moves more like a slider. So that's good stuff. The problem is he has just not gone well for him. It's an ERA of 11.5. He has walked He's walked 5 and 7 innings, given up 9 earned. The opponent's hitting .355. So while the stuff is very good and has potential, him harnessing that has been a bit of an issue. But you're going to see if it is Wirtz who ends up going for Northeastern. I know Jay Johnson on Thursday didn't have the starter, so he refused to announce Cooper Moore. But anyway, gotta love Jay. But if it is Wirtz, the stuff is good, but the production has not followed suit with that stuff. But there are, you look up and down this Northeastern pitching staff, and while they're trying to come together, went through a lot of guys on the preview on Musso at the Box. If you didn't check that out, you still have time to do that. Went through a lot of their pitchers there, and every single one of them gets into the low 90s. So, I mean, you're going to see pretty good stuff from Northeastern. That is a program that prides themselves on their pitching, as well with Dartmouth. There's some veteran options there in that bullpen, as well as we said, their whole team. But you can expect to see some lively stuff from these two pitching staffs, which, again, I would hope should lead to really good at bats and some hard hit balls with maybe a little more accustomed to what LSU has seen, especially with a team like Northeastern. It all gets underway at the Box a little over an hour from right now. Hopefully we'll get a chance to get you the lineup card before we get out of here on a Friday edition of AFR. Okay, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. How'd the Saints players grade their team? We'll tell you next here on AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
I definitely trust the lake to take care of my body. Being the smallest person on the court, I just have to be in a lot better shape than everyone else, just being quicker and faster. Just having that trust on and off the court is going to help you win a lot more games.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. Trusted by champions, built for Louisiana.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home, with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. WilliamsonEYE.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
All right, back here at Further Review. It is a Friday edition. Let me get set to send you into your weekend here. It's that time of year where the NFLPA conducts their survey, has the players on every team in the league grade their team in a variety of different areas: training staff, locker room, head coach, ownership, dining, all those things. And they give out a report card, and they rank the teams that way. And the NFLPA actually had said they were going to stop releasing these, and ESPN said, okay, that's fine. Someone's going to leak them to us anyway, and we'll just report them that way. And that's exactly what happened. So we have the grades this year for the New Orleans Saints. And I'll tell you what, it is a nice improvement in a lot of different areas for the Saints from a year ago. Like, that is the takeaway here. We'll start first and foremost with head coach. Dennis Allen, a year ago, was graded out a B-. That was 29 out of 32 head coaches in the league. Not overly surprising. He got fired. B- for a head coach, really not that great of a grade. But you look at this so far in year one under Kellen Moore got an A-, which I think tracks. When you hear about everything the guys said about him in the media, how much they enjoyed playing for him, how much they enjoyed he ran the program, ran the team, whether it was the offseason program, how they structured practice, all of those things, the team meetings, everyone was extremely complimentary of Kellen Moore, and this backs it up to show you that, man, it's not just lip service, right, to the media, that they're not going to get out there and badmouth their head coach. It's pretty important when an anonymous survey turns in him getting an A-. And I think that speaks great for the future of the franchise, honestly. I mean, we all feel like Kellen Moore had a really good first year as the head coach. It wasn't without growing pains. There were things early in the season from a game management standpoint that you saw him correct later in the year, and they closed the season strong, and he was able to really keep buy-in that entire time. That's huge, too. I'd be much more concerned if it was, the comments you heard in the media and you get this report card back and Kellen Moore's like a B+. Especially for a head coach who specializes in one area like Kellen Moore does on the offensive side of the ball and calls plays. He spends the bulk of his time with the offensive personnel. So to see the team and a lot of players across the team vote on this and have him A-, because again, there's some defensive players in there, that's very, very encouraging. I thought the other one that was huge was Brandon Staley at defensive coordinator getting an A. And again, that tracks too. Demario Davis was on this show at the Super Bowl and talked about how much he loved playing from Brandon Staley, how much he attributed his career highs in multiple categories this past season to playing in Brandon Staley's system. And I think it's likewise for the rest of his teammates. An A for a defense that finished top 10 in the league after starting out pretty rough and going through some growing pains. Again, that speaks well to the future. And I really hope that Brandon Staley is here for a while. But I think we all understand at some point a head coaching job is going to come calling for him again, and he's going to take that. When that is, we'll wait and see. But for now, you have a really good defensive coordinator in there who the players seem to love. How about Gale? Gale gets an A- for team ownership. You love to see that. That's right on par with last year. Not really much of an improvement, but we talk about it all the time with Gale Benson in particular, but what makes good owners in sports? They get out of the way. They spend, and they give their team everything that they need in order to be successful, and then they fade into the background. And that's a hat tip to her and the Saints organization for areas that they really, really improved in this season. How about the food and dining area? Now, this deserves context because the last 2 years, the Saints were doing construction on that entire part of the facility. So, of course, it wasn't good. But that went from a D- a year ago up to an A-. But it's not just the investment that you saw there. The training room improved in this survey. Goes from a B+ up to an A. The training staff improved this year from a B+ up to an A. Facilities, the weight room, that improved. So another good sign of investment from a B+ a year ago up to an A-. And that's really all the way down the list here. Another point of improvement was the treatment of families. Went from a C+ a year ago up to a B. And it's very good. And you heard that a lot throughout the season as well with the Saints organization. Really, when you get to this time of free agency and guys talk about their time in New Orleans, you'll hear that come up. And so to see that improvement, that's good because you need, obviously, those players spend so much time away from their families. They want to know that they're taken care of on game days and with travel and things of that nature. So good on the Saints for some improvement there. And then general manager. They gave Mickey Loomis a B. So congrats to Mickey Loomis. I'm not overly surprised by that. I'm sure a lot of the guys like Mickey. They negotiate well. The Saints front office make sure these guys always get their money. And I mean, the players on the team are the players on the team who want to be there. So they're going to give you a pretty good grade. It's not a stellar grade. I mean, B's okay. That's really middle of the pack when it comes to these. You know, you don't really see a lot of F's and F-. Not that you don't see any. The Buccaneers got a few, which was interesting. I actually want to circle back to that here momentarily. But it's in large part, Saints front office, Mickey Loomis, those guys take care of the players, get them what they need. So the grade makes a lot of sense there. Overall, the New Orleans Saints in 2024, they graded out 10th best in the NFL. A season ago, they were 12th best. They were right on par with that. They were 11th best here in 2025. I think that's huge because if you're talking about having money to spend in free agency now and you want to attract teams here, seeing these great reports from the players that are already here who enjoy being here, the improvements that have been made, all of that to me really seems like it should just overall make the Saints a more desirable destination. And then, oh, by the way, they have money to spend actually in free agency this year, which is a little deviation from the norm there for the New Orleans Saints. Some other ones that I wanted to get into that I found interesting and for all the wrong reasons. The Arizona Cardinals, who we know are just kind of a dumpster fire, finished 31st. Team ownership got an F. Team travel got a C+. Locker room got an F-, the lowest grade possible. And treatment of families got a D+. Stay hot, Cardinals. That's just real good. How about the Bucs? We mentioned the Bucs earlier. Some NFC South brethren there for the New Orleans Saints. They got problems over there in Tampa Bay, man. Todd Bowles gets a B, but got an A- as defensive coordinator. Wow. Call me shocked by that. He's a great defensive coordinator, not a very good head coach, and has had some awesome luck with quarterbacks in his time in Tampa Bay. The Bucs don't feed their teams well. D+, food and dining, clean it up. They also treat families like dirt, a D for that grade for Tampa Bay. Home game field, F-. That actually surprised me. I feel like Raymond James Stadium is really nice. And I feel like turf's always kind of in good condition. Unless it's just a monsoon like it was when the Saints went there. Team ownership. Did you see this, Taylor? Did you see the team ownership for the Bucs?
Let's hear it. I'm excited.
D. And team travel, F. The Buccaneers players graded team travel an F and home game field F-. All in all, there were 4 categories out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, however many, 4 that got a grade of A or higher. They were the weight room, the strength coaches, the DC, who's also the head coach, and the GM. Not great times in Tampa. Not great times in Tampa. They were 29th. If you're curious who was last in this, as I was when I looked at it, because, like I said, I like to see things like that. We told you the Cardinals were 31st, so they were next to last. We told you the Bucs were 29th. The Browns were 30th, so it wasn't the Browns, which is, I guess a little shocking. Everybody likes to kick the Browns when they're down. How about the Raiders? Actually, the Raiders graded out great in this. They were 6th, which is really surprising.
In Vegas.
New facilities. I mean, Pete Carroll did not grade well. He got a C+. He obviously got fired. Offensive coordinator was an F. But, I mean, everything else was pretty much an A. They're quite happy over there in Vegas. I mean, they are in Vegas. Did you look at these, by the way?
No, but I'm pretty sure I know who's last.
Okay, you want to give a guess?
It's got to be the New York Jets.
It is not the New York Jets.
I thought Woody Johnson was going to stay hot.
The New York Jets were 18th. They actually liked Aaron Glenn a lot. He got an A, which is fantastic. Team ownership got a B, so not great for Woody Allen, which isn't surprising. The Pittsburgh Steelers were dead last in this.
Which people love the Rooney, so that's a little surprising.
Yeah. Team ownership got a D- from the players, which is shocking. General manager, C+. Mike Tomlin got an A. Not surprising. They love playing for Mike T. Team travel graded an F. The home game field graded an F-. Treatment of families graded an F. All of those things that factor into team ownership graded an F for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is shocking because I'm with you. All you hear normally is how great the Rooneys are. And current go of it there over in Pittsburgh, not so much. Do you want to guess who was number 1? And then we got to hit a break.
The Baltimore Ravens.
No, the Ravens, they're not close enough to where I am on this. I don't think the Ravens were actually bad, though. The Ravens ended up 12th, so they were one spot behind the Saints. The Miami Dolphins, number 1, graded out number 1 per their players for organizations in the NFL. I was a bit surprised by that. The lowest grade was special teams coordinator at a B and head coach at a B, which that's not overly surprising. There with Mike McDaniel, but everything else, man, A's. Everything else, A's. So look at that, Miami, not a bad place to be. All right, we got to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. A couple more segments here. See if the lineup's posted for LSU and Dartmouth tonight. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. They're everywhere. And just plant something, y'all. How about rose bushes? You know how beautiful that is? Those are timeless, too. Rose bushes are amazing. Go to Clegg's, buy some rose bushes, plant them in your yard, watch them bloom, enjoy them for generations. It's a Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations. Not just rose bushes, but everything. They got the hanging fern baskets. They've got Johnny Naylor seeds. Just plant something, y'all. The tropical hibiscus. It's at Clegg's Nursery. Soil, mulch, bag, bulk. They got it all. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Ed sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Dr. Johnson, that's my guy. He gonna tell me when I need to do better. He gonna tell me when I need to slow down. And I trust him 100%. The medical care that I receive at LSU and with Our Lady of the Lake is top tier. I really trust what they telling me, and they keep me right.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Talking about Parish Construction Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Tell you every day do business with someone you know. That's me and Terrio and Richard Tilley and Joe Morales and Trent Davis and our whole staff. We appreciate everyone so much who's given us the opportunity. Our commercial roofing manager, Matt Pearson, sent us all a text that we were just awarded a large commercial roofing job today, and they heard us talking about it. Yes, of course, at your home, any roof repair, replacement, we love to help you out. We can install gutters for you. We do soft wash, do all of it. But I want to remind you that we are a commercial roofing company as well. So if your commercial building needs a new roof or repair, you have any issues whatsoever, we have the best guy. We went and scoured the world and found Matt Pearson in Florida, and we brought him to Baton Rouge. I'm convinced there's not a soul alive that knows more about commercial roofing than Matt Pearson. So if your commercial building is having any roof issues, roof repair, replacement, or you just need options, trust me, have a conversation with Matt Pearson. We'd love to help you out. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com.
All right, waiting on the lineup to be posted out there at the box. We're less than an hour to first pitch. This is normally about the time that it's posted. Still waiting on that. Hopefully we'll get it for you before the end of the show. But a couple things just to mention here with baseball around the league today. There's some marquee matchups SEC-wise in some tournaments. Ole Miss and Texas, they're out in Houston over at the Astros deal. They're each going to get to face Coastal Carolina. Texas will face Coastal tonight. That matchup's a little watered down now that Coastal lost the top two arms in their rotation for 8 weeks, including Cameron Flukie. So that kind of stinks a little bit. But you'll still see a pretty good test for Texas here, who they have looked incredible. I've watched a little bit of them. Dylan Valantis, that was a big question for Texas. Could he transition from shutdown closer into the rotation on a Sunday? And he has just been dominant so far. He has been efficient. He has been just as good as he was at the back end of the bullpen in the rotation. That really changes things for Texas because Ruger Riojas on Friday night is already really good. LSU got a nice dose of him a season ago in Austin in long relief. So they've looked really good. So they'll get a little bit of a test. I'm very high on Ole Miss. I think they are much better than people are giving them credit for, so it'll be nice to see them get tested. Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Texas A&M are all up in Arlington at a college baseball classic up there. State played earlier today, and this was really their first test, and they took on Arizona State. And Arizona State is off to a really good start here in year 5 of Willie Bloomquist. He's got the boys in the desert playing very well. They went to Norman and almost swept Oklahoma. They boat raced them in the first game and then got walked off in the second. That was their first loss of the year. So they got to face State today. It was a pitcher's duel really through almost 5 complete innings. Arizona State's ace, the really good lefty, he hurt his leg backing up home plate in that 5th inning on an RBI single to break the scoreless tie, had to leave the game. And then on the first pitch that the reliever threw, Garrick Fry, a pinch hitter for State, launched a 3-run homer, and that was pretty much all she wrote because Evan McPherson was nails for Mississippi State on the mound today in that game. He threw 7 innings of 1-run balls, struck out 5, fastball got up to 97, and the changeup was devastating. He was a really firm, tight breaking ball as well. That was very good. So Mississippi State passes their first test really with flying colors. They looked great. They'll get a crack at UCLA tomorrow afternoon, which will certainly be one to keep an eye on. Speaking of those UCLA Bruins, they are currently facing the Tennessee Volunteers, and it is just not going well for Tennessee. That game is currently 11-5. UCLA is batting in the top of the 9th. UCLA jumped out to a 5-0 lead. Tennessee cut it to 1 run with a 4 spot in the 4th and then proceeded to give up a 6 spot in the top of the 7th right after putting the 4 spot up in the 6th. They added 1 in the bottom half, but you're looking at 11-5. I watched Tennessee twice last weekend when they played Kent State. And that team looks and feels different. I'm not telling you they're not going to be good. I think Tennessee's going to be good. I think they're going to make the NCAA tournament. But what you've seen is a regression in the pitching staff, particularly the bullpen. I think they feel really good about their top 2 starters in Tegan Coons and Landon Mack. Get a little interesting with Evan Blanco on Sunday. The bullpen did not really impress me very much over the weekend against Kent State. A lot of free passes. They pitched behind in the count. You've seen free passes again here today. 6 of them now. They've hit 4 batters and walked 2. All 6 of those free passes have come from Tennessee's bullpen. Look, Frank Anderson, the longtime pitching coach, who was as big of a part of that as anything, left with Tony Vitello to go serve in a support staff role with him with the San Francisco Giants. Tennessee also committed 3 errors in this ballgame. The defense let them down plenty against Kent State as well. And the offense has been slow to really jive. I mean, look at that series against Kent State. Now, I will throw the caveat out that the weather was brutal in Knoxville last weekend. The wind was blowing in. It was cold, especially that Sunday game. There was hardly anybody there, and the people who were there were bundled from head to toe. So it wasn't great conditions offensively, but you go to Tuesday, that was a 1-0 game against Bellarmine for the longest time before Tennessee really broke it open in the latter innings. So the offense has even been a little slow to come about. It feels a little different around Tennessee right now, especially the fundamental part of the game, which, man, they were so buttoned up with, and you just did not see that team walk or issue free passes to people, and they did not commit errors. And that is something really over the course of the last 3 games that they have struggled with. And if you're going to give that many free bases, I mean, you're looking now at that's 6 walks and hit by pitch, 3 errors. That is 9 free bases you're giving the number 1 team in the country, and the result of it is there's 11 runs on the board against you. And it should be noted that UCLA is really, really good. UCLA is really good. Everything they had last year when they made it to Omaha, probably a year early, That's back. They have the best player in the country in Rock Chalowski at shortstop, and they improved their starting rotation where they're actually getting length out of their guys. And if they needed to add another bat to the lineup, they went and got Will Gasparino from Texas to come play center field. That's a really good ball club, and that's going to be a really tough test. It was going to be a really tough test for Tennessee to begin with, and it's going to be a really tough test for Texas A&M as well as Mississippi State. Like, UCLA should be the favorite in that event, and I think you'll look up and you'll probably see them hoisting the trophy. For what it's worth, it has not gotten better for Tennessee. The bases are loaded in the top of the 8th with 1 out, and UCLA already with 11 runs on the board. So that's probably could get a lot worse before it gets better for the Vols. Keep an eye on them the rest of the weekend, man, though, because they get to play Arizona State as well. And we just talked about that team. That team's playing well this season. State got them today, but the way Tennessee's playing, if they keep teams in the game like they have been, man, that could be a really tough one. And if Tennessee goes to this event, they lose 2 and they don't play well, and right now they have not played well today, you're going to see some noise around Josh Elander early in his tenure, much like you did around Michael early in his tenure at Texas A&M. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. I think Josh Elander's a very good coach, but it's been an inauspicious start here so far as Tennessee staring down the barrel of loss number 3 here early in 2026. Excuse me. Okay, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Hopefully we'll have a lineup for LSU and Dartmouth tonight. If not, we'll put a button on the show and send you into your weekend nonetheless. It's Friday's edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Stick around.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Yes, hormone replacement therapy. Yes, NAD+. Yes, BPC 157. Yes, ED treatment. The bottom line is, gentlemen, I don't care how old you are, it's about how old you feel, and do you want to feel like you did when you were younger? Do you want to live a more vital life? Do you want to live a more energetic life, where you wake up in the morning, your feet hit the floor, and you're rip-roaring ready to go, where you're motivated to get in the gym, where you have a great libido, where you have great mindset, energy, mental clarity, memory, all that sort of stuff? It's possible. It's affordable. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help you do it. Hormone replacement therapy could be a giant part of that for you. NAD Plus can literally help your cellular optimization to make you younger at a cellular level. BPC 157, tremendous in helping in recovery. Learn more. yourgoodwood.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Championships are won with preparation, and so are great roofs.
The Tigers don't cut corners on the floor. Parrish Construction and Roofing won't cut corners on your home either.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
ParrishBuilt.com. Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country, in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We're brought by Rouse's, official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Check them out, Rouses.com, or get to their Facebook page. You can always see specials and different things that they have going on over at Rouse's. Of course, Fridays in Lent, they got the hot seafood bar. So if you want to go get your fried or boiled seafood on a Friday in Lent, you can always pop into Rouse's, grab and go. And, of course, they've got boiled crawfish every single day at every Rouse's location. So I encourage you to get by Rouse's. Remember, one of the great things are the crawfish are boiled in-house every day, and they're bagged and tagged already. So you just walk on into Rouse's, go up to the hot and boiled kiosk, grab your crawfish, your corn and potatoes, boom, hit the register, and you're on your way. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
All right, still no lineup at the box, but Tigers get underway here in just a little bit more than a half an hour. So I'll give you some final thoughts on that series here as we close the show. First, Jay Johnson, when he met with the media on Thursday, did note one thing in particular that he really is wanting to see from his pitching staff.
Suppressing the big inning. You know, that's baseball. That's part of our team goals. Like, this is not something that's new. We just, again, we didn't deal with that a lot last year. And I think using guys correctly, making sure we slot them for success, getting them to execution, and then knowing what the limit maybe is for them can help that, but good defense helps that too. Like, we need to handle the ball. And all of them are a little different. Like, the 3-run inning Kaysen had against Indiana was weird. The ball left the infield one time. Sometimes there's an element of baseball being baseball, and I hate that. I hate saying that. Like, I want to control everything, you know, but unfortunately there's a little element to that.
That's one of the most honest things Jay Johnson has ever said. I want to control everything. He does a pretty good job at that, but it's in lockstep with something we talked about earlier, man. It's that big hit. LSU's got to get out of those innings without allowing the big hit. Just limit the damage. We talked about Tuesday night. You walked in a couple runs, but that happened with 2 outs. The big blow was the 2-out, 2 RBI single that turned a 2-spot into a 4-spot. You get out of there with just those 2 runs, you're right there in the ball game. In fact, it's tied at that point in the game, and it feels completely different. That's been a thing for LSU this season. So limit the damage in the big innings. Try your best to avoid the big hit that scores multiple runs and takes that number from a 1 to a crooked number, or even a really, really crooked number out there at the box. And you heard him there. You got to play good defense. The fundamentals are going to be key. That's what we talked about. If you don't let these teams in the game, don't think they have enough to really stick with you this weekend. LSU feels far and away vastly superior. I think it's a big bounce back for LSU this weekend. Really kind of one they needed. Tuesday night was a little sluggish, a little lethargic. There was some real sloppiness, obviously, in that game on offense, at the plate, and on defense, really in all 3 phases at some point there for the Tigers, definitely on the mound. So a good, clean weekend, bounce back for LSU is what I'm expecting. I rarely predict sweeps. I hate doing that because you just heard Jay Johnson. There's an element of randomness. It's baseball sometimes, right? But I do think this is a weekend that LSU does go out there and they win all 4 and really get back on track here against Dartmouth and Northeastern. First pitch from the box. a little more than 30 minutes away. Case and Evans will toe the rubber for LSU. We do know that. I'll give it one last refresh, see if there's a lineup, and there's not. Oh, well. You know what's going to happen? As soon as we go off air, like as I walk out of this studio at 6 o'clock, LSU is going to post the lineup. And that's going to make me a little upset. But it's okay. We'll get over it. We'll go watch some baseball at the box. We'll be back here for you on Monday, recapping everything we saw. Matt will be back on Monday as well. Appreciate everybody tuning in to the show today. It was a lot of fun, jam-packed, a lot of good stuff that we went through there. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand. AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Goff, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. Just search after Further Review. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you to Taylor for hanging out. Thank you to Paul as well. And thank you to all of you. We'll see you next week here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by First South Farm Credit. You know where to start. Your first call, your first visit, your first option when it comes to buying land in Louisiana is First South Farm Credit. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be land in Louisiana, because First South Farm Credit can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. And they've got more than 40 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So if you're right here in the Southeast, there's First South Farm Credit locations all near you. But remember, like, for example, let's say a lot of our audience in New Orleans, of course. You're living in New Orleans, maybe you're starting to build a family, grow a family. You want to move to the North Shore like a lot of people do. You want to buy the 100 acres in Tangipahoa. You can. And First South Farm Credit can help because they have an office in Amite. So you can walk in there, you can do business with someone who talks like you, lives where you live, and help you buy land wherever you want to buy land in the contiguous 48. It's First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Trust isn't given, it's earned. Earned both on the court and off. And every step along the way, I trust Our Lady of the Lake to keep me in the game.
FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake experts provide best-in-class care for our state's world-class athletes, because it takes a champion to care for champions.
On the court, I trust my team. For my healthcare, I trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit LouisianaPropane.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Lockmair Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmair Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.